Welcome to Chess, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. So I figured, I would switch it up today, do something a little different. So I went back and I tried to find the oldest known chess game ever possibly played. It's not 100% known if this game was fully played or if it was. It is part of a book or a poem, if you will, that was written by Francesc de Castellví in 1475. So it is not 100% known if this was a game that was actually played. It is believed to be the earliest game ever played. It's very early. Around this time, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of, information around this time, about 100 years before this game was played in 1475, they had just came out with En Passant. And around this exact time, about 1475 to 1530 around, they just introduced new rules for the queen and for the bishop, and they just introduced castling. So this is the earliest known, mentioning of the game that we know it in its current form. There was a lot of books and things written around that time. So at the very end of the video, I will read a little bit of what the Wikipedia says about this particular poem. So I'm not going to try to butcher it, insanely. I'm going to, kind of do like a little light analysis, kind of give my thoughts and stuff like that, point out a couple of important points. But I will try to do my best interpretation of what the poem might mean as far as the moves are concerned. It might be a little comical because, I'm not fully sure, exactly what, is being said in the, particular poem, the book. So the game is Francesc de Castellví versus Narcís Vinyoles. Like I said, 1475. Both players were from Spain. So this is a pure Spanish game. And I think this does have a little bit of significance as far as the Philippines is concerned, which is where most of my subscribers come from. Because, Spain, occupied, the Philippines for about 300 years. And the name, Philippines was named after Prince Philip II in the 1500s. So, there is a lot of history, as far as the Philippines is concerned when it comes to Spain. But without any further ado, I will, speak to my people from the Philippines. I will say mabuhay. Kamusta na aking makaibigan, magandang umaga. It is very, very early morning there, so good morning to you. Anybody who is coming from Spain or who does speak Spanish, I will say muchas gracias, mis amigos, para ver mi video y mi YouTube. Bienvenidos a mi video. Let me see. There was something else I was going to say, but I forgot. Anyways, if you guys are ready to go after this insanely long talking at the beginning, we go ahead and get into this game. It's kind of short. And then so we have the move. We start off with the move E4. Get my volume up. Okay, we start with the move E4. And it is, as of now, we have a completely new game. This is the novelty. Now, at that time in 1475, we're not really 100% sure. If E4, of course E4 had to have been played at some point before this. It didn't really start to get mentioned until maybe about 90 years later. In Roy Lopez de Segura's book, he did talk about the move E4. He talked about a lot of openings. Lucina's initial book in 1497, which is 22 years after this game was played, it did mention 11 different openings. I'm not 100% sure what those openings were, but of course, E4 would have had to have been mentioned. It is, even at that time, without computers, you still have to think that, either E3 or E4 is a very, very logical move because it does let the bishop and the queen out, especially if they change the movements of the bishop and the queen at that time. You just know that this move maximizes all of your moving capabilities and that knights can jump over. So, those openings would have had to have been analyzed. So we do have D5, and this is known today as the Scandinavian defense. I don't believe it was known at the time. It might not have been named, or they might have changed the name later on. But I just think as far as love is concerned, this just puts immediate tension into the situation. So this might be the first time that they had an argument Pawn takes d5, pawn takes d5, knight goes to c3, queen to d8. So you can see they're doing a lot of fighting. I mean, they're doing a lot of arguing. That might be, you know, kind of illustrative of the tension that you have, you know, when you have your first fight. I don't know. But like I said, we do have the move queen to d8. And as of today, you know, this is the third heavily played move. It's a very logical move. I mean, it's just a safe square to put your queen back. You know, you could see queen to a5 or queen to d6. Those are also possibilities. And I think that because white is so scorned by the fight they had, they go bishop to c4, and they're saying, bro, I'm going to hit you where it hurts. So this might be an insult that white is throwing to black. You never know. So we do see knight going to f6, and then we do see knight to f3, and then we do have the move bishop to g4, and you can see both players are really just trying to fight each other. You know, this could be, you know, like I said, I mean, them fighting, you know, however you interpret the situation. But I mean, you know, white and black are both like tossing some things at each other. And we have actually reached a point in the game that as of today, we have certain tactics and you know, we have a really, really nice move for white to play in this position. So if you want to go ahead and pause the video, there's actually two moves. One is a little bit better than the other. But if you guess either one of these two moves, you would be absolutely correct. So if you want to pause the video and try to guess that move, go ahead and do so. Okay, cool. So, automatically, I mean, like I said, this is a really tender move. So there is the possibility of going bishop takes, you know, f7, king going and taking f7. And then we do have knight to e5 with check, and we will be winning at least a pawn in the scenario. So that is one of the possibilities, but it is also possible, you know, this was another one of the moves to go knight to e5. And this is baiting, you know, black to just be like, oh man, it's so juicy queen. Because if we see the bishop taking d1, thinking that everything is good, we're winning all kinds of material, you would be sad after bishop goes to f7 with checkmate. And I'm not sure how aware or unaware, you know, these players would have been at around this time, you know, of these different types of traps and stuff like that. But like I said, we do see the move bishop to g4. So Castellví just goes ahead and goes h3, attacking the bishop, and then we do see bishop taking f3, queen taking f3, you know, it's kind of an artificial, like at the end of the day, I mean, you really kind of want to go c6 here just to make sure that you cannot attack this pawn, because that is what white is doing. But I think that maybe the move e6 is, you know, kind of representing in a relationship when you're scared of something. It's not really anything that's logical. You know, I think that maybe black is scared of a checkmate here because they see kind of like the lining up of pieces. So they just go ahead and just protect that. But they do leave themselves vulnerable in another area, and that is with the pawn getting taken on b7. So now we have our rook attacked in the corner. So the knight b goes to d7. And then we do see knight going to b5 and just adding insult to injury. I think white is kind of just hitting black while they're down. So it's kind of like when you've won the argument, you just keep going on and on. So we do see the rook going over to c8. Knight takes a7, and this is attacking the rook. And then we do see the move knight to b6. Knight takes c8, knight takes c8, and then we do now have the move d4, which was way possible in the you know, earlier in the thing. And I kind of think this is like a fake apology. If I was to guess as far as you know, relationships go, this is definitely a fake apology. It's basically white saying, I'm sorry, I'm gonna give you a pawn, but that pawn comes at a cost because your knight is gonna be getting taken. So, you know, if you are super gullible and you fall for that, then you are going to be getting hit where it hurts severely. So the knight does come to d6. Black basically says, I do not believe you. So we are attacking this queen and this bishop at the same time. But we do have the ability to check with bishop to b5. And then knight takes. We got queen taking with check. And then the knight goes back to d7. And then we do have the move d5. Like I said, as far as this game is concerned, at this time, we're not really sure if they were implementing castling in this game, because up until this point, you know, you just didn't ever castle. I mean, it was not even a thing. So that is why you kind of see this king, you know, super stuck in the middle of the board. And I mean, you know, it's like, why are you pushing a pawn and trying to open up the position if your king is stuck in the center? But like I said, I mean, you know, the rules were right before this that, you know, you just never castled. It just wasn't a thing. So we do see pawn taking d5. We see bishop up to e3, kind of blocking the king, you know, a little bit. We do see bishop to d6, rook going over to d1 because we just want a pawn. We just want a pawn munch, right? The queen does go to f6, and we do see rook taking d5. The queen going over to g6 because we are threatening a little bit of stuff going on. So we do go bishop to f4, and I really kind of think this is white saying everything's going to be okay. I offer a truce. Here's my bishop, you know, because I just feel sorry for the way that I treated you in the relationship. But obviously, if the bishop is taking, which is what it was in the game, then black has fallen for the trap, and white basically says, I don't love you. Queen takes d7 with check, scoots the king over, and then we do see queen to d8 with checkmate. And this is basically, I never loved you. So, I mean, that is my best estimate on what the poem might be saying. You know, feel free to, you know, comment and let me know what you think the poem might have been saying. But I really kind of feel like, you know, white never loved black. And they made that abundantly clear in this exchange of pieces. So that is, like I said, the earliest known, or the earliest, at least the earliest mentioned game in the history of the modern chess that we know right now. So, muchas gracias, mis amigos. Maraming salamat, aking makaibigan, and I will see you guys next time.